Hello, everybody out there. So for today's video, I wanted to do a video on Forgiving 101, Forgiving 101, Apologizing 101. Jeepers creepers, it's terrible when I don't read the title of the video. So, Apologizing 101, Forgiving 101. So, actually wanted to do the video because I recently did some training and had a training manager who was talking about apologizing and kind of accepting responsibility for your actions. And he was really talking about like work, but I kind of made me start thinking about like actual relationships, whether it's friends, family, mostly for significant others, obviously, and kind of just like the importance of apologizing and seeking for forgiveness, as well as the kind of like the how-to. So that's why I call it like the 101. It's a little bit of everything. So as far as the actual quote that I really appreciated was, when we don't actually apologize and take responsibility for our actions, we are doomed to repeat them. The reason why I believe that is so true and why that quote kind of stuck with me and made my brain kind of spin is, at the end of the day, when we don't apologize, we definitely put ourselves in a position where we don't have to actually take responsibility for our actions. We don't have to acknowledge them, so we're going to do them again. It's the same thing with like a little kid. If a little kid steals and the little kid isn't required, or the child isn't required to apologize, then they don't really believe what they did is wrong. They don't accept that like reality in their head, and going forward, they're going to probably do it again. And it's the same thing with relationships. If you don't apologize, if you don't verbalize it, it's not necessarily real. And also, if you kind of give a half-ass apology, it's the same thing. You're not really accepting responsibility for your actions, and therefore you are doomed to repeat them. So why is apologizing so important? The reason why I believe apologizing in relationships is so important is that it's a very selfless thing to do. It's not about you, it's about the other person. It's about you accepting responsibility, caring about how they feel, listening to how they feel. And it's one of the most selfless things that you can do in a relationship, especially like a romantic relationship. Because for that moment, that's very likely you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel, bad. You're going to have a lot of negative feelings that you're carrying when you're apologizing. And you're going to feel judged, whatever else it may be. And it's a very selfless thing to do. Obviously, because you are literally allowing someone else to be frustrated with you, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and accepting responsibility for your actions. So at the end of the day, that's kind of the reason why it's so important. And also, obviously, it's going to, when you actually apologize the correct way, it's going to help your relationship continue to grow and continue to further, because you're letting the other person know like, hey, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm acknowledging what I did wrong, and I care enough about you that I'm going to be uncomfortable right now, accept responsibility. And it lets the person really know that you care about them and that you want to love them and put their emotions first ahead of yours. Not necessarily all the time, but when it's really important, or some of the time, whatever, however you want to do that part. But that's kind of the whole reason why I think it's so important. So kind of from there, as far as like the how-to, like the real 101 part of it, if you will. So number one is listening. And I'm not just saying listen and don't like hear what they're saying and absorb it. I'm talking about like, let that person tell you like how they feel. And I know you're like, well, listening isn't really part of like apologizing, Ethan. And I tell you like, you're right. Like, it's not you verbally saying anything, but it is the real first step in apologizing. I mean, you could say there's a step before that, like the step before the step that's not really a true step. Which would be like, before you ever apologize or before you get into an apology situation, you should really make sure that you're sorry, because when you just give someone a bullshit apology, they're going to know. And if they don't know, then eventually after a while, they're going to know, because nothing changes. So make sure you actually want to apologize and you actually feel bad for what you've done before you get to that point in time. But the real like actual step number one is going to be letting that person talk and really hearing what they have to say. At the end of the day, like, it's really listening. And if you need to take like mental notes in your head, then do that. It's not thinking about, oh, what's going to happen after they're done talking? Oh, how am I going to get out of this? Oh, here's my excuse, or whatever other bullshit, or, oh, I feel bad for me in your own head. Like, just listen to what that person is saying and really take it in. Once they're done talking, the next thing that you really need to do is you need to take a moment, let them know like, hey, I'm going to process what you're saying real quick. And then you need to kind of paraphrase it back to them. You need to make sure that you're saying like, hey, what I heard you say, what I think I did wrong is this, this, and this. And then you follow it up by saying, is that a fair thing for me to say? And you're saying that because you're acknowledging that you paid attention, that you're highlighting the important parts, and that you understood it, and also asking them for clarification like, did I understand what you said? Did I not understand what you said? Did I get the high points? Did I capture what you were trying to say and how you feel? And it gives the other person, again, an opportunity to rephrase, because maybe when they were upset with you, they were harking on one or two things, and that wasn't really what was important to them. It was something else. And they had that moment to say, okay, I know I spent a lot of time talking about this and this, but this is really what upset me the most. Or maybe you misheard something. Maybe you didn't get the entirety of what they were trying to express, why they were so upset. And it gives them an opportunity to be like, hey, like, they're listening. I know they're trying. Excuse me. But what I actually was upset about, like, what you need to understand, how you need to, like, view it is this. And it gives them a chance to rephrase it so that you're both very clear that you were paying attention, that you understand, and that you're now on the same page because you've rephrased it. And now both of you know that you care about each other and that you're both trying to move forward with the issue because you're listening and then you're rephrasing and then they're having a chance to rephrase. So it's just like, it's the proper way for the conversation to flow. After that, like, the next thing that you really have to do is you have to kind of explain the situation. So I'm not saying make excuses, and I'm not saying, like, explain away why you did what you did. But what I am saying is, as like a quick example, if you're in a relationship and you tell your partner, hey, we're going to go out at 6:30 with our friends for dinner on Friday night. And the other person ends up, like, saying, okay, sounds good, let's do that. Their boss ends up calling them at, 5 o'clock and says, hey, I need you to do one more thing before you go home, or tells them in person, whatever it may be, and they end up staying too late and they don't get home till 6:30 and you get into a fight about it. Like, obviously you need to accept responsibility, which is the next step. But the first thing that you really should do is not make excuses. And you can even lead by saying, hey, I'm not making an excuse, but the reason why this happened is because my boss asked me to stay. And then the next step you immediately need to jump into is, but I made the choice, I forgot, I did this, and accepting responsibility. In my humble, like, honest to God opinion, like, this is the most important step, because I'm going to tell you right now, whether it's in work, relationships, sports, people don't want to take responsibility for when they fuck up. People don't want to have to be like, hey, it's on me. Everybody wants to be the hero of their own story. They don't want to be a bad guy. So they don't want to have to feel like I messed up, I did something wrong. But I'm telling you right now, if you are able to just, like, man up, woman up, person up, whatever, I don't care. If you're able to sit there and say, hey, I messed up, it's my fault, not a bunch of excuses, not feel bad for me, not it's because of this, or starting another fight about something that the other person did to you before. No, it's you accepting responsibility for where you fell short. And I think that that's the other thing that I really think I want to address, is I feel like that's the most important part. The most important part is accepting responsibility. And then from there, sorry, I'm going to jump a little bit. From there, the next step after you accepting responsibility is literally telling them, like, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up, it's on me. And then following it up with the question of, like, is there anything else that I can do? Is there anything else I can say to make sure that you know that I care about you, that I want things to get better, and have them, like, respond to you. And they're going to tell you, like, okay, like, you could do this, or you could do this, or maybe I need you to say this. I don't know what it may be, because everyone's going to be individual, but listen to what they say. And if you can do it in the moment, then do it in the moment, as long as it's sincere and genuine. If it's something you need to do in the future, then do it in the future. After you give that moment to talk, you need to say the last little bit of this whole, like, apology. The last little bit comes down to you, where you need to say, okay, I heard what you need. This is what I'm going to do. I want to do this, and I'm telling you that I'm not going to do this again. And you're laying out a plan for them to understand, like, that you're not going to repeat the same actions, and that you're going to try and improve, that you're going to try and be better, you're going to try and care more, whatever it is. And it's really going to solidify, like, the going forward plan, and that's going to set you both up for success. The only other thing that I would really, really say that I think is really important is, I think a lot of times we get stuck in this idea of, like, what an idealistic apology is. I think a lot of times people sit there and they think about, like, movies or TV or what their friends say, and it's like, oh, guys are supposed to buy girls flowers or chocolates or, whatever it may be to apologize. And I don't know how it is in a lot of relationships, but I can tell you I have experienced before where, like, I've had, like, people that I've been with who have been like, like, women who have been like, oh, I messed up, like, I want to, like, be intimate, physically intimate. to make up for it. And like, not necessarily like that's what they're saying, but that's what ends up like trying to inspire like quickly afterwards. And I think we have to get away from these things. I think those are the easy ways out. Those are the ways we don't have to accept responsibility. We don't have to be selfless and be uncomfortable. We don't have to go through this process. That's pretty much what I have, guys. I feel like this video, I apologize. Like I said again, I said at the beginning, and I don't know if I was recording or not, so I apologize. I feel like my energy comes off very low for this video, and I've always been someone who I'm like, I want to have high energy, and I want people to feel it, and I want people to see how happy I am. Like that's who I am. But in this video, I sat down and I was thinking about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it. And every time I thought about it, like it just was so serious. And I feel like I feel serious about it because in my humble opinion, like my humble opinion, I think that this is one of those things where I'm telling you, if you apply it, it's just matter of fact. It's going to be a night and day thing. And I would challenge anybody in your relationship to try and apologize this way and see how it goes. I almost could guarantee you that the reactions, that the outcomes of the fights are not the same because people don't apologize like this. People don't apologize in a healthy adult way. It doesn't normally happen. And if they do apologize in some type of healthy adult way, I don't think it's very common that people go through all these steps, let alone taking like absolute responsibility for their actions. I just don't think it's very, very common. And I guarantee you that the outcomes that you'll see in your relationships, like I said, with your significant other, friends, family, whoever it may be, I believe wholeheartedly would be very, very drastic. And that's the reason for my lower energy, because I just feel like so matter of fact. Like I'm passionate about it, but I just feel like I have applied this in my own life and have seen significant, drastic benefits in my relationships because like I have followed these very basic, simple steps to make the other person know that I care and to like not solve, but like work through the problem. So that's pretty much what I have, guys. At the end of the day, the whole goal for me with all these videos, with the streaming and everything, is to be able to help 100 million people. The best way that's going to happen is if people share the content. If you got value out of this video, I would ask you to share it. If you feel like someone that you know or someone you care about would get value from seeing it, share it directly with them if you want. You don't even have to tag them in it. Just literally message it to them. That's more than fine. The whole thing, also, I guess, if I do a funny video in the future, if I do some funny stuff, you can share that too if it brightens someone's day. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to help 100 million people. It's not all going to be in huge ways. Sometimes it's going to be in small little ways. But the whole goal is to help that many people. So I'm never going to ask you to like or comment or any of that or subscribe. I might ask you to comment. I always do that. I might ask you to comment once in a while. But to like and to subscribe, if you want to do that, you can do it. That's awesome. Thank you for the support. But at the end of the day, I want to help people, and that is the name of the game. It's pretty much what I have for right now, guys. At the end of the day, my little tagline I'm going to start throwing into my little videos that I love is be greater than you were yesterday. Be greater than today. That's pretty much what I got, guys. So I'm going to answer some live questions now on Twitch and Twitch and Facebook. So for the YouTube fam out there, guys, stay healthy and stay safe. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Have a great night, guys. Bye.